Welcome to the Real Refined Podcast, where faith and the mind meet. I'm your host, Bri, and I'm your host, Tierra. Tap in.
What's up, Real Refined fam? We are back with another one.
Another one.
What is the delayed response?
I'm just real giddy. You know what? You know what happens when hunger gets to me, child? We may be singing in this episode.
Oh, Lord.
Because one thing about being hungry and me,
Yeah.
it don't really mesh well together.
We start getting a little weird around
Delirious.
here.
Weird.
Delirious is a better word. Delirious is a better word.
It never gave. I was weird. What are we talking about today, T?
Today, family, we are talking about burnout. Like, are y'all tired? It's the end of the year. Sis is tired. Are you tired?
You know, I think it's the time change.
It's that.
But yes, I am.
And
I do feel tired.
It's life, and it's work, and it's kids, husband, family, obligations.
Yeah.
Jinx.
We didn't plan that.
Yeah, it's all the things. Like, there's a lot going on, and I've had a lot of conversations about people just being tired, like
Overwhelmed.
tired.
You is tired.
Yeah.
What else? You is overwhelmed. You need to go to bed.
Yeah, that in that order. So, what are some of the signs? Like, first of all, have you ever experienced burnout before?
Absolutely. Too many times, actually.
Man. So what were some of the symptoms around it, and what were some of the circumstances around it? Like, what were you doing? What were you working on? And how did you know that you were getting burnt out?
Oh my gosh. One of the most recent one of the situations that come to mind, because it's really fresh, well, not that fresh. We had a major acquisition when I was in corporate, 2022. And as the lead manager in my area, there was a lot to do. We did an acquisition, a divestiture, and there was something else at the same time. No, they were both at the same time. Neither here nor there. It was a lot.
Lots of really fancy corporate words, too.
Oh my gosh. There was so much that we had to do. And me, especially when you're operating as a perfectionist, you want things to be perfect. You want it to go well. And then you're managing people at the same time. So I think back to that point in time, because I was the root of it was no workplace boundaries. I'm gonna just get to the point. Like, I didn't have any workplace boundaries. It's if you needed me to show up, I'm gonna be there. I was staying late, almost like sometimes 8:00 at night late, just to get ready, because of how much we had to prepare for this really big thing that's happening. But I remember just feeling very overwhelmed, very tired. I didn't have any time, or I felt like I didn't have any time for myself. Once you get home, your mom, your wife, you have whatever other obligations that you have to take care of, and you're really not going to bed till way after midnight, and then you have to get up again to do it all over again. There was just no break. Stress was very high. But I also felt a lot of anxiety around wanting to hurry up and get it over with, not wanting things to go bad. There was just so many different emotions around it that I remember just feeling like, this is my breaking point. This is it.
Yeah.
But I was also irritated a lot. I was very irritable, frustrated. I can just continue to name like the emotions. Angry, because I'm like, why did I sign up for this? Who put me in charge? Why do I want to be in charge so bad? There was just a lot of different things that I felt, but the overall feeling was just very overwhelmed, very tired, not feeling like I had enough time, not feeling like I had enough sleep, but also feeling like if I don't do X, Y, and Z, then everything else will fall apart. And then I'm the one that is going to be the reason why everything fell apart.
Yeah. So
there was this sense of obligation there that made me just feel like I have to show up and do whatever it is I need to do. And I also miss like important things for the kids at that time. And I'm not the mama to miss stuff. Yeah. But during that time, I remember being on a call outside of the school, still at work after 5:00 for something that was very important. They do like the sneak peek at school. And I never miss those things. That day, I missed it, and I had a panic attack. As soon as we got off the call from work, I just broke down crying. Mm-hmm. And I'm panting on the phone. I called my mama. She was just like, breathe. Because when you ever call somebody and you just cry,
as soon as they answer the phone,
like, and they're just like, what is going on? My mom was just like, breathe, what is going on right now? And I'm like trying to talk to her, but that was devastating for me.
Yeah.
It was from that moment on, though, that I realized that, one, I have no workplace boundaries. And two, like, if I continue to operate like this, stress makes you sick. Like, you can get really sick from stress. So I was feeling like if I don't do something, I was losing weight like crazy. I wasn't eating. That was another sign. I didn't have an appetite. And then by the time I realized that all I need to eat was like 4 o'clock, 3 o'clock in the afternoon, I just didn't take care of myself.
Yeah.
And that's when I knew, like, this isn't healthy. I'm not supposed to be doing this. I'm not taking care of myself. And yeah. And I learned from it.
Man.
I know we didn't get there yet, but that was my burnout story.
No.
Take care of yourself.
Man, what you're describing sounds like what my life has felt like over the last several months.
Oh, no. Is this a crying episode?
No.
Oh, man.
I'm good.
Boo.
Good. No, but it's so funny, like, listening to somebody else, because when you're in the middle of kind of experiencing burnout, you don't realize that you're reaching a point of burnout.
Exactly.
You just think that it's all of these other things. So I didn't realize that I had obligated myself and stretched myself so thin. Like, I had obligation after obligation after obligation, and my schedule was so tight that I didn't have any room for anything to go wrong in any one area. Like, any small inconvenience was not a small deal. It was a big deal, because I just had so much on my plate. And the irony is that I feel like when I wasn't working and I wasn't doing as much, I felt this guilt and this shame, like I'm not being productive enough, I'm not doing enough.
Yeah.
And it's like I was looking for opportunities to be busy. And then when I finally got booked and busy, because a lot of the things that I, was doing, it was the stuff that I want to do. But then I also had the things that I was obligated to do that took up a lot of space as well. And I'm just be honest, work. And I looked up and I was like, yeah, I'm booked and busy, but I think that long term, I didn't realize what I had signed up for. I didn't have like an end date to anything. And I started to experience some of the same things, being really irritable, having panic attacks, crying at my desk, crying at home, crashing to go to sleep every night, like just throwing myself in the bed. And then that would also cause me on the weekends where I did not have anything to do, where I was sleeping in really late, because I feel like I could never catch up on rest. Like, it was never enough sleep. Also, low-key, like, some depression starts sneaking in there after a while, not eating all day long or surviving off snacks all day long. I don't know. It was just a lot. And I didn't realize that there was like an overarching thing and these were all symptoms of something. I just thought that there was something wrong with me. Yeah. And that's what prompted me to want to sign up for therapy. And the longer that I talked to my therapist, I realized you're not just losing it. I mean, you don't just have like a hormone imbalance, like you're too busy. And the concept of being too busy was very strange to me, because in my mind, my idea of being successful, being productive, the woman that I want to be, I want to be corporate baddie. I want to be, booked and busy. I felt like, no, this is a part of what comes with it. Also, not eating healthy, not eating consistently, not cooking, house starting to look crazy because you don't have time to do anything but come in, change, do the basic necessities, and then you're out. So when I was talking to my therapist, that's when I realized that, no, sis, like, you have to start making some decisions about what you're going to take off your plate. And even in having some of those conversations, it prompted me to reflect on what mindsets do I have around success And how are those driving this destructive behavior that I'm in right now, where I'm getting ready to crash out?
That's really good. When you always, any conversation about mindset sparks my interest. I had to change my mindset about what time management meant.
Mm-hmm.
That's what changed for me when I had to think about, like, how do I not get to a place of feeling burnt out again? Because burnout doesn't just happen right then and there. It's like a gradual, like you kind of graduate to each level of burnout. I don't want to call it levels, but you start at one place, and then before you know it, you're like feeling very tired and you don't know why. There's so many other things going on, but it's kind of like just being on autopilot. Things are just going on around you and you're just continuing to coast, and you're just living through it, going through it. Okay, go to work, come home, do this, do that. Like it becomes like a routine, and we don't realize what it's leading to. So that's one. But when I think about my mindset around time management, we think being busy means we're being productive.
Yep.
Why do we think like this? And in the time management course that I have, that's one thing we talk about. When we talk about making your schedule, having a whole bunch of things on your schedule is not what makes you productive.
Yep.
You don't have to have a booked and busy schedule. But I also think, too, that society and the world wants you to conform to what being booked and busy is. Having a booked up calendar, meeting with all these people all day, doing all these things, traveling here and all the time is what they are saying being booked and busy is. But you can do that. But if you do not have proper time management, it's not going to happen for you. But what does time management even look like? What are your priorities? Everything is not a priority. There's things that are urgent and there's things that are important. Those are two different things. Important and urgent are not the same thing.
Yep.
So when you think about those two things, you think about, okay, well, when you do like a matrix, an Eisenhower matrix, like when you do things like that, that paints the picture for you to show, well, this is urgent and important, or this is this and this and that. This is not even a big deal. I can throw it away. At the end of the day, that's what I had to do myself.
Yeah.
Because if I did not really think about what was urgent versus important and what was I needed to do like right then and there, what was the priority, everything would have continued to be a priority.
Yeah.
And that also means when people bring you things, that's a priority to them. It's not a priority for me. So we have to exercise our boundaries, our personal boundaries, our professional boundaries, relationship boundaries, whatever type of boundaries they are. We have to exercise that right to say, I'm working on something right now. I'll get to that when I can. My line, and my leadership team used to always try to mock me. I would say that doesn't work for me. When I would be in calls with vendors, I'm sorry, that doesn't work for me. And that was my line of 2023, because I ran it out. Because 2022, I was in the time of burnout. But 2023, I was honest and forthcoming. Like, I'm sorry, I can't do that.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, that does not work for me. I'll try my best and I'll get back to you. Because I went from trying to be high speed and show up and do everything for everybody to, you know what, I'm a person. I deserve to take a break. It'll get done tomorrow because tomorrow is tomorrow. I don't have to jam pack item 1 to 10 in my whole Tuesday. I can try to get maybe 1 to 5 done. And if I don't even get to 5, have grace with yourself, Bri, because that's okay.
Yeah.
You got 1 to 3 done. But we are conforming so much to what the world says about being booked, being busy, and being productive that we're not taking a step back to say, you know what, like, I have to rest. I give myself permission to rest, because we don't even give ourselves permission to just take a break and sit down because of the obligation behind whatever we're doing. And when we set boundaries, it's not even the boundary that makes you feel guilty. It's the obligation.
Yeah.
That's
Unpack that.
when we feel like we're obligated to do something, it's harder to set the boundary because we are feeling like we're supposed to do it.
Yeah.
We think saying no, which is the boundary, is what makes us feel guilty. Like, I don't really want to say no. You feel like you have to show up to do it. So because you feel like you have to do something, whether it be for somebody, for example, family members, and I'll be quiet. Whenever your family members are doing things for you, or friends, they're always showing up for you. They're being there for you and whatever else. When it's kind of your turn to do that, but you feel like you can't really do it right now, there's a sense of obligation there because they're always there for me. They're always showing up for me. It doesn't have to be just about showing up. It's because they're family.
Yeah.
So we feel like because they're family, dang, because you're my family, I know that I'm really tired. Because you're my best friend, I know that I'm really tired, but I'm going to do it anyway. No. You have to take care of yourself. It's not the boundary. It's the sense of obligation we have to being that friend, being that spouse, being that professional, wherever you are. And that's my TED Talk. I will be quiet right there.
No, that's good.
That was long-winded. I've been long-winded for the last episode or so. I'm going to try to...
No, you're good. I enjoy letting you run it, sis. And we know that Bri is the boundary setting queen, so we let the boundary boss.
Me.
We let the boundary boss run it when we talking about boundaries.
I can talk about boundaries all day.
But no, I love what you said about like work, about the obligation, because in certain work cultures, employers feed off of you having that obligation and that ambition for you to continue to say no to yourself so that you can say yes to them. And a little bit of it too is when you're in certain work environments, it's like, of course, like you have a natural ambition to want to do things, but it's also like you want to prove yourself. You want to move up the ladder. You want to do all the things. And what I have realized is you got to be secure. Like, you have to truly be secure with who you are. And like, I'm really not here for you all to be pleased with me, to impress you. Like,
that's good.
I'm here to do what I know that I'm good at or what I know that I enjoy doing. And then beyond that, that's it. And I've recently too been very intentional about, you will never catch me working after hours. Unless you're going to cut me a separate check for a separate role, you're never going to catch me doing that. Because why?
What? You can't. It's 5:00, T. I need you to do so and so.
You don't need me to do nothing.
What
you
don't
mean?
even.
You really don't even know me after 5:00. Like, it's another person. It's another version of me that does not even exist
T,
to you.
It's 4:59.
After 5:00.
It's 4:59. I need you to get this done right now at 4:59. What you doing?
Tomorrow is tomorrow. Tomorrow has a whole nother set of 24 hours, and we will deal with it then.
Period.
Your emergency is not my emergency. And you said that, and that is something that I had to realize. Like, the obligations do not stop. The people, whether it be your job, family, whatever the case, like, those things are not going to stop asking. And I think sometimes we want people to stop asking to relieve us of the responsibility of actually setting the boundaries instead of taking ownership and saying, like, I can't do that.
Yep.
And we get frustrated when people keep asking for more and more, but you set the tone that you work after hours so they know to call you after hours. That, you know, I'm going to do my job and somebody else's job, so I'm going to keep giving you 3 jobs to do and paying you the same salary.
Let's go.
You're not asking, and I think if you are choosing to show up in that way, at the very least, you should be asking for compensation for what you're doing. And 9 times out of 10, we're not doing that. We're running ourselves ragged because we're trying to prove ourselves to whoever it might be. That's even in relationships. Like, I won't say no to you because if I say no and I stop showing up in this way, you might reject me, or you might not see me as, you know, a good person or loving or giving or whatever. And it's like, I reserve the right to be off. I reserve the right to say no. One of the things that I realized when it came to burnout and setting those boundaries and stuff is for everything that you say yes to, you have to count up the cost of what that really is. Like with having a house cleaner come in once a month, or whatever the case may be. You know, some people might look at it, and I have like, well, I can clean my own house. But do you actually have the time and the energy to clean your own house? So you're paying this person a fee to do it. And in your mind, it's like, I'm losing out on this money, but you're gaining time, you're gaining energy. You can commit that time and energy to doing something else.
Absolutely.
And it also calls for us to actually know what our priorities are. And that's been a big game changer for me. What is important to me? What are my values? And even the things that are important to me now, like for instance, there was a time when I kept trying to live my life in preparation for a family that I don't have. That's not a value and a priority to me now. It might be in the future, but I should not align and organize my life around the obligations of someone who has a family when I do not. And what I mean by that is I felt this pressure that I put on myself where you need to be cooking more because when you get married and when you have kids, that's something that you're going to need to do. So you need to be in the habit of doing it. Well, sis, it's just you and this dog right now. So Chick-fil-A, here we come.
No, save the money and cook.
I mean, yeah, but you know, for what I had going on at the time, it's like Uber Eats at that. Now, that got out of hand and we had to reel it in. Because if you look at how much money you spend on Uber Eats.
Isn't it crazy, like, to think about how much you spend eating out?
It adds up.
Yeah.
It adds up. But even with all of that, some people might be able to live that way because groceries are expensive now.
Yeah.
But you need to count up the cost and make a decision about what's important to me. And I'm just now getting to a place of, and some of the stuff that I have to cut out are the things that I don't want to cut out.
Mm-hmm.
They're things that if it was up to me, I would do it, but having to be realistic about this is the way that my life is set up right now. These are the obligations that I have. These are the obligations that I have, but also sometimes you kind of spoke to this. We think we have obligations to stuff that we don't have an obligation to. We think that stuff is so important that when somebody says like, okay, what can you take off your plate? In your mind, I can't take anything off my plate. I have to do all of it. If I don't do it, the world gonna fall apart.
Yeah.
And this is where I want to introduce this part of it. One of the reasons why I was getting burnt out was because I had stopped putting first things first. And when I say first things first, my time with God.
Absolutely.
I was so focused on all of the obligations, all of the things that I had to do. Have you ever been so traumatic in something that you woke up in the middle of the night thinking about it?
Yeah.
And panicking and woke up out of your... Like, that is crazy.
Feeling like you were late to work?
Crazy. Thinking about what you have to do that day or thinking about a test that you have to take. When I was in grad school, that was the thing. Like, I was so focused, and I think it's a natural thing to do when you are in a high stress situation, but I was so focused on, I have to do this, I have to do that, I have to show up here, I have to show up there. And I hate to say it like this, but this is how it happens. I don't have time to spend with God right now.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I'm
That's
too
true.
busy right now. Like, I don't have time for no 30-minute prayer time first thing in the morning. I got to get ready.
Mm-hmm.
I got to get as much sleep as I can, and I got to get up and I got to get ready. I'll talk to you in the car, God. I'll talk to you in the shower. Misplaced, mismanaged priorities are going to lead to burnout every time. Sooner or later, you're going to realize, I can't do this without
Limited
God.
capacity.
I have a limited capacity. And what I have found is, since introducing God into the things and not just telling them, God, give me what I need so I can get all of this stuff done. God, is there anything I need to put down? Am I operating out of my own strength? Because, we always say, like, cast your cares on him because he cares for you, for his yoke is easy and his burden is light. So if the burden is heavy and the burden is not light, then perhaps you're carrying stuff that he did not give you the grace to carry.
Absolutely.
Perhaps you have obligated and tied yourself to something that he has not given you the grace to do, and that is why you're so constantly overwhelmed. I believe that there are times and seasons where we are supposed to struggle through things, but we are struggling for the sake of developing endurance and character for whatever reason, for God, however he wants to develop us. But if your life is perpetually stressed and you're perpetually depressed and perpetually tired and perpetually irritated, you're carrying something, you are doing something that you are not called to do.
Mm-hmm.
And that was a hard reality for me to come to terms with, because I really felt like, no, everything I do is important. I can't stop doing none of it. It has to get done, and I have to be involved.
The things we tell ourselves is crazy. I'm glad you took it to talk about, like, having God in our schedule, because that also changed it for me. I remember trying to figure out, like, how am I supposed to move and do all these things, and just kind of, it makes you wonder, like, how how do I fit God into my schedule?
Mhm.
It's not fitting him into the schedule at all. He's the start of the schedule. It's because we try to fit it to where it's like, okay, well, like you said, I'm gonna talk to you in the car. I'm gonna do this and do that. But the game changer for me, but besides time management, was knowing that my morning has to start with God. Like it's a non-negotiable. Like it's not, maybe I'll do it. No, it has to be that. Otherwise, and I found that, especially on the other side of burnout, when I started to have my mornings like coming out of that, spending the time with him, praying, and then going into like praise and worship, whatever y'all had going on throughout the day did not faze me. Why? Because I had a really good time with God this morning. He gonna make my schedule for me. I'm not worried. I'm seeking his kingdom first. I'm worried about what he's worried about. Like, he's going to order my steps. Whatever y'all got going on, I'm gonna get what I gotta get done. I'm going home.
Period.
And then I'm not gonna be as tired. Boundaries too was included in that. But when I shifted that thought process from including God in my schedule to like, God, you are the schedule. And I pray and I ask that you create my schedule for me. And I remember you told me that in one of our discussions. What is my schedule today? What am I supposed to be doing?
And it took me 5 months to take my own advice.
Oh my gosh. Because the biggest thing, especially after like the transition that I had this year, the hardest part was feeling like, oh, what am I supposed to do now? Like, what is the schedule? I don't want to just take a nap because I'm used to just doing whatever. I'm used to working all throughout this time that I want to just relax. I make my own schedule.
Do you take naps now?
I don't. I'm not a napper. Naps naps annoy me because I want to go to sleep.
What?
Naps
I love a little 45 minute to an hour power nap.
Naps are so annoying because just let me go to sleep and wake up. Because have you ever like taken a nap and you wake up and it's dark outside and you're panicking?
No.
Exactly. Don't nap. Don't nap long.
No.
Yeah. My naps become sleep and I wake up.
Okay. Yeah.
Like, oh my gosh, I'm late.
I get back up before nighttime now.
You get up before night?
I get back up before nighttime.
Naps, I don't know. I mean, maybe I should have taken more naps as a kid, but I don't know. Naps just don't do it for me. Who wants to just close their eyes for 45 minutes and wake up?
Me.
And then do more stuff?
Yeah, do some more stuff.
I mean, I guess power naps.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is.
Boo. But
Power
anyway,
up.
I get to make my own schedule, but it's aligned to where I don't feel stressed. And I've given myself permission to not try to pack everything in. I don't have to be this thought of booked and busy. I am booked and I am busy, but not at the standard of what everyone is saying. That was the changing point for me. Like, if I do not start with God, if I don't put him first, if I'm not seeking him first, things just feel chaotic.
Yeah. It
just feels like chaos to me. And I always know when, I guess, the schedule has changed because life gets chaotic.
Mm-hmm.
And I start to feel like, I don't know. So I'm glad you spoke to, like, the turning point is just having him first, because we tend to, like I was saying, operate in autopilot. We tend to just do things because it's normal. Like, you just do it all the time. But I feel like the beacon of change, even thinking about generational curses and healing or whatever else, is identifying that a change has to happen, but then doing it.
Yeah.
Because we can say all day, like, oh gosh, I got to spend more time with God, or I got to cook more, I got to save more money. We can say all those things. It's cool. We can say, I'm so tired and I'm going to get off at 5 and I'm leaving here at 5. We can say it, but are we doing it?
Yeah.
Are we actually saving more money? Are we just driving by Chick-fil-A instead of, because I want some Chick-fil-A. Actually, it's been Zaxby's for me. I'm going to turn into a Zaxby's because we live close by one now, but neither here nor there. We can talk and say to ourselves and pray to God, like, God, please take this load off.
Man, that's a real prayer.
We can do that. But we're not. What are we doing to take the load off? What are we prioritizing? And that was it for me too. I can sit up here and cry to him about, God, I'm just so stressed. I'm so overwhelmed. I don't want to do this, X, Y, and Z. And then I'm continuing to do it. I'm not making any changes. I'm not doing anything different. I'm still staying after work after 5 o'clock. And to what you were saying earlier, our jobs pick up on that. They know, oh snap, Bri gonna stay.
Validated.
Oh my goodness. Oh, she's gonna stay after 5. So
And then they give you a little pat on the back, not a raise.
You're just doing such a great job. I remember like leading up to the time that I was leaving corporate, which, fun fact, which you know this, I didn't leave by choice. I was trying to fight to stay. And the blessing in this was that I don't need to stay anyway. It's
God
okay.
be knowing.
He be knowing. But I remember just feeling like, oh, I don't want to be here no more. But the crazy part is I had prayed for it, but that's a different conversation another time, another episode. But I was very tired at that place. But it's like, I'm still going to show up and stay late. I'm not going to do anything. Now, that was in 2022. But like following that, okay, it's 5 o'clock. At 4:55, I was shutting down.
Yeah.
I can't do calls at 4:55 or 4:59 or whatever. I had to be very firm. But it started to, because they had this picture of, well, Brianna is just going to stay late anyway. She's going to show up anyway. Just call her. She's going to do it anyway. When I was not doing that anymore, hey, are you okay? Are you okay? Hello? Because in what lifetime is it normal for me to be working at 7 o'clock at night and then still show up on time the next day? What world are y'all living in?
And people barely even be saying thank you for real.
They don't. Oh, hey, are you doing all right? You seem like you're a little stressed. No, you're stressing me out. So that's why I'm leaving at 5. I'm out of here, buddy.
I know that's right.
That's crazy.
It is.
The jobs tend to think that there's this sense of obligation. Like, well, she's done it already. Because you said earlier, we set the tone. Mm-hmm. We really do set the tone for how people, even in our professional
settings. And if you think them people not going to get all their money's worth out of you, they are.
But that's the thing, though. Give them their money's worth. You're paying me this amount. Okay, I'm going to do this amount of work. 5 o'clock comes, that's it. Yeah. I'm going to still show up and do what I'm supposed to do in the daytime. I'm going to do my job, but y'all want me to I'm not going to be bare minimum because I ain't my style, but you want me to also do someone else's job and that person's job and this person's job.
When you can just hire somebody.
You can hire somebody to do it.
I'm not saving you money.
Oh. Anyway.
Yeah, let's not let that go to, because...
What else you got, T?
You know, it was something that I saw in scripture, and it changed everything. I've been saying the last couple months, like, there's always the one thing that changes everything.
Yeah.
And when we talk about, like, we just need one word from God, when we sing this song, like, just one word, like, it literally can be just that one word that shifts your perspective, and it changes everything. And it was me reading, I don't remember what book of the Bible it is, but it was the story of Mary and Martha, something that we read here all the time. One of those stories that you kind of take for granted because it's like, yeah. But when I was reading it, I just, my eyes like zoomed into the page where, I don't remember who the busy sister was, but she was saying, like, you know, you need to tell her, come over here and help me. And she was over there worshiping God, worshiping Jesus. And Jesus told her, you are worried about many things, or you are anxious about many things, but she has found the one thing that is most important of everything else. That's so good. And I don't know what it was about me seeing that scripture, and it it's like, I don't know how to explain it, but it's one of those moments where, like, you know how you're in a season and you're going through stuff and you're stressed. Like, I had come home one day, and this is not, it had happened, you know, many times, but like, come home, flopped myself down on the floor and cried and said, God, am I doing too much? Like, what do I need to do? Like, you know, all of those moments, crying, overwhelm, anxiety, all of that. And it's like the one moment, this very common Bible story that is told a million times, all of a sudden, it's like everything zoomed in, and it's like, this is for you.
Yeah, that was for me too.
This is for you.
I'm glad you said it.
And it put things back into perspective that I am not here to work. I am not here to accomplish. Like, I don't know if you've ever experienced, but like, you're doing all the things and people are like, dang, girl, you killing it, but you still feel so empty. You feel like, I'm still not
in my life.
I'm not doing, like, I'm doing stuff, but I don't feel like the satisfaction of knowing I am in alignment with my purpose. I am doing what I'm supposed to do.
Absolutely.
Like that feeling. And it's a very strange.
You start finding more stuff to do.
Yes, to try to feel it. Oh,
I feel it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And you're trying to figure out what is the thing that I'm supposed to be doing that puts me back in alignment. Like I literally had like a whole year where I was like, I don't want to say panicked, but I felt like I'm supposed to be doing something, you know, as far as like an assignment or what I'm supposed to be doing for God. And it's like, let me keep trying all of these things so that I can try to get to what the thing is that I'm supposed to be doing so I can feel, you know, relief and feel satisfaction and know that I'm in the right place. But you can just sense it when you feel like you're not. And reading that scripture put back into perspective, like when the Bible says, seek ye first the kingdom of heaven, it is not about your accomplishments. It's not. When it's about putting God first, putting God at the forefront, when Jesus was saying like, she has found the one thing, it was just him. Just spending time with him. And then from spending that time, all of these, God, give me a strategy on how to carry the stuff. Tell me what I need to do. Tell me how to do this better so I can. It's like just in going to him, some of the obligations fell off.
Yep.
Some of the obligations I no longer felt obligated to. Some of the obligations were still the same, but it's like, here's a better approach to this. I've literally been at work and will get a thought of, why don't you try it this way? Like it changed, like just locking back into my relationship with God. And we don't talk enough about how busyness is a distraction from him.
It is.
Even in ministry, we think, oh, well, I'm doing this thing where I'm talking to people about Jesus. So, you know, I'm good. This is a part of my work, my ministry. No, your first obligation is to him. Your first obligation is to just be in relationship with him as opposed to all of the work and the things that I need to accomplish in his name.
Yeah.
And it's so easy to conflate the two things, because especially when you start doing work in ministry on any level, in any capacity, it's very easy for you to think, well, I'm doing my part for the kingdom, but the kingdom wants you, the full person, first. So just that mindset shift, just that one scripture in the right season at the right time changed my mindset to realize like, and I also want to clarify this that I said earlier. There's nothing wrong with praying in the car or praying in the shower. There's nothing wrong with that.
For sure.
It was my heart in that I was doing it to fit God in to my schedule.
Exactly.
That's what the thing is. It's not that it's something wrong with praying in the car, praying in the shower. It's your priorities don't include me. That was the actual issue. And when I started to get intentional, even with my downtime, I'm watching TV. I'm playing solitaire on my phone. I'm scrolling on social media. I'm talking about nothing, on the phone. Where exactly does God get time with me? Not just even for me to come, I'm going to say something. Not just for me to come and say, God, I'm overwhelmed, I'm stressed. And then that's it.
Right.
Time to really spend with him and to be reminded of who he is, to be reminded of what my purpose is, to ask questions about, well, what is my assignment? And my therapist actually got me together. She really let the Holy Spirit use her. Because I was looking at her like, why are you saying this stuff to me? But even me going to God with my stuff and my list of all of the things that I need to make my life easier and saying, hey, God, I need you to move and do this and that. Instead of saying, God, what do you want me to do right now? Am I doing anything that is a distraction from you? Am I doing anything that I'm not supposed to be doing? And if I am, I'm willing to give these things up so that you can align me with what I'm supposed to be doing and where I'm supposed to be. That's a totally different prayer. I definitely cried. I definitely went and repented because I was like, dang. And you don't realize how entitled you become that God is supposed to support this structure that you have built called your life with all of the things that it needs to run, and then saying, hey, I need you to touch this. It doesn't go like that. It's, God, what is it that you want me to be doing? What is it that you need from me? Do you need me over here doing this thing? Do you need me over there? Where have you called me to? And in the seasons of my life that I look back on, and I recall that was my posture, because I was so desperate and I was so humble in knowing that I needed God to do anything. All of the other things flowed into that, and it didn't feel like such a heavy thing to carry. It didn't feel overwhelming like that. So I'm just now still in the process of getting back to that.
That is so good. When you mentioned Matthew 6:33 earlier,
you better give us,
because that's been my focus this year. So for me, the first part you were saying, to seek his kingdom first, was important. But the part that stuck with me is all else will be given unto you.
that part.
If I am being about your business, God, and your kingdom, and putting you at the forefront of everything, I shouldn't be worried about anything else. There shouldn't be anything else that I'm worried about, because you already told me if I'm seeking you first and putting you first and your kingdom first, you got me covered. Like, that took off so much anxiety for me, to know that it's conditional. Like, there's something that I have to do, because God, I know you make amazing promises and you never break your promises, but I still have to do something too. I'm supposed to seek your kingdom first. I'm supposed to be about your business first. I'm supposed to put you first, not pencil whip you in and, try to make time for you when I feel like it's convenient for me. But you are the start of every morning. You're the reason why I woke up this morning. You're the reason why I have what I have right now. Like, you are the reason. Putting you first is essential. It's not maybe I put you first. I have to put you first.
Yeah.
And when I do that, why am I worried about everything else? The schedule will make itself. It will really align. So that has been my attitude. I'm so glad you brought that scripture up, because I know for me that we get so locked into everything that we have to do that we forget what's really important, like what we're really supposed to be doing. We just know we have a big old to-do list. And it's overwhelming to have a to-do list, because it feels like so much to do. But if you don't manage that properly, it's going to always feel like a lot to do.
And it's never going to end.
It's never going to end. You're going to be on autopilot doing the same thing every day and having the same complaints every day too. Nothing's going to change about your vocabulary. I'm tired. I'm overwhelmed. I'm frustrated. God, why? Like, it's going to always be like that.
Yeah.
But we have to be the one that wants to change it. But like, change it for real. Because a lot of us are saying, I'm tired. I'm tired. I'm tired. I'm tired, Grandpa. You childish. Like, we want to say it. And we want to keep up with that same sentence. I'm just so tired. But have we ever paused and like, why am I tired?
And what is the underlying complex that I have that is driving me to be so busy?
Why?
What am I trying to prove, and who am I trying to prove it to?
Honestly,
what am I doing all of this to get?
That's a part of the
and
why.
Why?
That part. We on the same page, friend.
Why?
Why? And I know, like, when you know how kids are so inquisitive. Well, why? 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 My youngest is like that. Well, why? Why, mommy? What's that?
I hope they never lose it.
I don't want them to. Because asking why, not even asking why to be like a smart behind, like, well, why? But it's like, why is this like this?
Yeah.
Even like when you think about coaching with clients, you're asking them why. Why? 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 And then when you don't even have an answer for the why anymore, that's your roadblock for one. Well, even if you say, I don't know, let's unpack that.
Okay.
What do you mean I don't know? Like, why do you not know? There's so much more to our obligations, or what we feel like is an obligation. There's so much more to like this topic in general.
Yeah.
That I think for us to really live a life where we are not measuring our success with someone else's ruler, where we are really doing what God told us to do, and we're not, comparing ourselves, and we're not trying to meet whatever the standards of the world are, when we're not trying to be so worried about what our jobs are going to say about us when we're not around, or whatever it is. When we take off that part and we really zone in and focus on what is important and what is the priority, it changes so much. Like, your perspective, because honestly, the task won't go anywhere. the stressors, whatever else, they may not go anywhere, but your perspective though, and the way that you respond to that, that's key.
And you know, us experiencing burnout and overwhelm is just a little piece of what it's like to live life without God.
Oh, that's good.
Like the weight
Chaos.
of all of the obligations that you have to do and how you feel the weight of each task I have to do, that is just a piece of what it's like to do life without him. And the good thing about him, he's so gracious and merciful that he is waiting for you to just invite him into all of that, and not just invite him to say, hey, make this lighter for me, but hey, let's clean the slate and you tell me what to do.
Absolutely.
That's the one thing that unlocks the other stuff. And that's my final thought. The one thing that unlocks everything, if you are struggling with burnout, overwhelm, even the holidays coming up, running around like a chicken with your head cut off, trying to buy all of these gifts and all of these toys for people, all of the stuff, right? The hustle and bustle of this season. The one thing that changes everything is not, God, help me with this. God, how do I do all of this? God, let's clean the slate and you tell me, what do you want from me in this season of my life? What is the lesson? What is the thing that you are trying to mold and do in me? And where am I resisting you in that? And being willing to say, if you tell me, whatever you tell me that I need to put down, I'll put it down. Because the thing is, that obligation that you were talking about, that thing that we don't want to hold on to, something about us doing that is feeding something in us where God is supposed to be feeding us. The thing that we don't want to no, I have to do this, I have to do that. And for me, one of the things I had to give up was one of my forms of ministry for a season. And it's like, that's still not more important than me.
Oh, yeah.
So really getting down to the root of, why do I feel this obligation to this thing? And wiping the slate clean. And I do believe that, you know, everything is not forever. It's just for a season.
For sure.
But your willingness to part with it is what I believe that the Lord is after.
Yeah.
Because he wants to know. He wants you to have that Abraham moment. Are you willing to sacrifice Isaac? I gave you this business. I gave you this job. I gave you this ministry. I gave you this community. But are you willing? Let me just do a heart check to make, are you willing to part with it for a season?
Ooh, yes.
If I tell you to.
Yeah.
That's the game changer. There are seasons where we will be overwhelmed and stressed. That's just a part of it.
It is.
But it just gives us an opportunity to make sure that we are in alignment with the Lord. And if we are in alignment with him, then those seasons should not last a long time.
That is so
They shouldn't
good.
last forever.
I want that to be my final thoughts too. Shoot. But as I was
Get your own.
Oh my gosh. As I was listening to you though, oh, that was so good, T. One thing that I've learned when it comes to like feeling tired, and really burnout is what we're talking about, it's tied to control. It's tied to control.
Say it.
We want to control so much to the point where, because we want to hold on to it and we want to be the one to do it and we want to be able to knock it out and have control over our schedule, have control over the people at work, micromanaging God. Like because we want to do that, it's really hard to let go. It's really hard to look at your schedule and say, well, what can I take off my plate? Like, what can I do differently? It's a need to control everything. And I know we all say, well, I don't be trying to control nothing. There's some sense of control there. And there's a healthy sense of control, like self-control, that's healthy. But when you're trying to literally hold on to everything all the time, you don't have anything left for God, for yourself, for anybody, any other obligations to show up for anything. You can't. We're limited beings. Like, we don't have the capacity to do everything for everybody all the time. You just can't.
Yeah.
But we have to tell ourselves that, and not only tell ourselves that, but believe that and understand that it's okay that I am a person with limited capacity. I can't, once this glass is empty, I got to reset. I got to pour it back up. God, let me get into your word so I can fill myself back up to make sure that I have enough for the next day.
Yeah.
Like, that's important. And if we're not doing that, we're going to wake up the next morning, not replenished, still riding a car on E. Like, I know my car. It's cool. I'm going to make it to the gas station. That actually happened to me one time. My mom was pissed. I ran her car out. Sorry, mama.
We do that in life, though.
For real.
Yeah.
Oh, I know that I can make it. But overall, my final thought, and that was my final thought, is to do a self-check. Like, really evaluate what's important versus what's urgent. And put God first. Like, Matthew 6:33, that's my scripture. Y'all go read it. It's like something that the light bulb comes on when, as long as I'm chasing after you, God, everything else is going to fall directly in line.
Yep.
Jeremiah 29:11, like, he has it all laid out for me.
Yeah.
What am I worried about? God, you don't want to hurt me. I be doing the most, though. So I be putting stuff on my plate that you didn't intend for me to do anyway.
Yeah. I just want to throw in my pinky toe on this last
Do
thing.
it.
It's hard to part with the things that you feel like define you.
Yes.
Like, so the things that you're not willing to part with, like being the boss. I'm a boss. Like, it's going to be hard to part with that. So when you have those seasons of burnout, use that to, what do I feel like is defining me? Like, what is a big part of my identity that is being challenged in this season and in this situation?
That is so good.
This was good.
Don't let me start talking about identity. I know we about to wrap up.
Look,
but baby,
this
that's
was
another
so
conversation
good.
for another day.
I hope that all of y'all that are, tired, give yourself a break, man.
Take a break.
Take a break. Let somebody come clean their house. Let somebody watch them churn.
Go get a pedicure. Your feet probably crusty.
Your feet do be crusty when you be doing too much. Cause that's real. That's how you. That's the barometer.
That's how I know I'm doing too much. My feet ain't been done. What's happening? That's how I know.
The nails is whatever, but the feet. If my feet not done,
Houston, we have a problem. Because, baby, these feet got to be done. That's how I know I be doing too much.
In the wintertime, too.
Even in the wintertime. Because don't be under them sheets cuddling with your boo when your feet all crusty up on his body.
Look.
I'm just saying, you're rubbing them together about to start fires and stuff.
Oh, my goodness.
Okay, I'm done.
We love y'all. We'll see y'all next time.
Bye.
Bye.